Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are going to make a GitHub homepage clone using Next.js, Tailwind CSS and many other libraries. So here let me give a preview of this website, and after that we can start building our project. So first, this is our navbar and this is search bar. If I inspect and shrink it, you can see its responsiveness, and this comes with this animation. After that we have our hero section, and then we have our productivity section. If I scroll down, then we get this sticky navbar, and if I scroll above this productivity section, the sticky navbar disappears. So now let's scroll down, and this is our code editor, this is our increase page, then this is our hover card with code animations. We can also replay it, and this is our second card with code animations. This is our collaboration section, and this is our card. If I refresh it, you can see that animation. Then this is our security section. Let me refresh it again so you can see the animation. And lastly, we have our globe Mona image, and then we have our footer section. So we are going to make all these things in this video. And also one more thing, if I click on this productivity, it gets directed to that section: collaboration, security, and these are the buttons. So yeah, this is the website that we are going to make in this video. So let's get started and start building our app. And now let's create our next step by writing following command in our terminal. So write npx create next step latest. Press enter and then give your project a name. So this will be a GitHub clone. Then I'm going to use TypeScript. Yes, yes, no, yes, no. And now this will install all the necessary packages for our project. Now after installation, go to the project directory and then write npm run dev to start our server. And as you can see in our next step, there is no problem. So go back to your project directory and then let me stop the server, and we are going to install some packages for our project. So that npm I react spring framer motion kobe. So these three packages we are required to make our GitHub clone. So let's wait for the installation and then go to your package.json, and you can see that all the packages are listed here, and this is all we need for our project. Now after after this go to your app directory and then pages, and then remove all these things and write simple div here and save it, and let's run our server again. So write npm run div and refresh it. And one more thing, that in the global.css, go to my GitHub repository and copy all the CSS from my GitHub and paste it here. So for that, I'm going to my GitHub, and here you can see in the app directory there's global.css, and we need to copy all these. So copy from here and then paste layer. So this is all the extra CSS that we are required. Other than that, we are going to use the Tailwind CSS for our styling. Now save it and let's go back to our browser. And as you can see that our background has changed. And with that, our project setup is complete. Now in the GitHub website, you can see that there is a background image. And if you inspect it and start resizing, you can see that it's resized in a certain way. So we are going to copy this exact format in our project, and for that go to your page.csx and inside this div write some more divs with a class name of relative and z will be 50, and inside this we are going to have one more div with a class name of absolute. Now outside this div we are going to have one more div, and inside that we are going to have one more div with a class name of overflow hidden, and then inside that we'll write a div and we'll give a class name of relative, and then inside that we are going to have our image. Inside the source you can go to my GitHub and copy this link from there. So copy this URL and paste here, and now give the width of 4377 to this image. Now if I save it and go here and refresh it, you can see our image. But for the desired output, we are going to add some CSS here. So add a class name here and give a class of absolute top 0 transition is in, and then duration will be 200 milliseconds. Now if the window size is below XL, then we are going to shift the image to right with minus 1050 pixels, and if it is above XL, then we are going to shift the image to right with a 9 with minus 970 pixel, and after that we are going to add a image class here. And if you go in the global.css, you can see that our image class here we have calculated the max width for our image so that we can have the same effect as in the GitHub. So let's save the page and go here, and if I refresh it, and as you can see that we are not seeing anything here, and the reason is that we did not give any height here. So just to show you, I'm going to give a height of h screen, and if I save it, you can see that our image is visible now. And if I inspect and start resizing it, you can see it's resized in the same way. So with that, we have added our background image for our website, and now let's make our navbar. But before that, we have to make one more component here. So inside the app directory, make one more file named container.tsx. Write tsrefc. Now remove this as well and write interface container props. And inside that we are going to have children, which will be a type of react dot react node, and then we are going to pass our interface here. So write react dot fc container props, and then inside this pass our children, and then here as well write children, and inside the div we are going to have a class name which will have a max width of 1440 pixels, And then if the window size is above Excel, we are going to have a horizontal padding of 20. If it's above MD, then we are going to have horizontal padding of 8. If it's above SM, then it will be 7. And lastly, we are going to have a margin in horizontal direction auto. And now close this one, and in the app directory, make a folder named components. And inside that, we are going to have a folder named Navbar. And inside that, we are going to have our Navbar file, which is navbar.tsx. And then write tsrafce and give a class name of text white. And now go to the page.tsx and import the navbar component. And let's save it and go back to the browser. And as you can see that our navbar is visible. In the navbar, we are going to remove this one and we are going to import our container, and we are going to write our JSX inside this container. Now inside the container, if I write something, let's give a class name of text white, save it. You can see that our container is working now that we have a padding in horizontal direction. And now inside this container, we are going to write our JSX. So first we are going to have a div with the class name of text white. Everything inside our container will be white and PG will be transparent. And then we are going to give a vertical padding of 5, which is 20 pixels. And inside this div, we are going to have one more div with a class name of flex. Item centers. If the window size is below LG, then we are going to justify the content, justify between. Then if it's below LG, then we are going to reverse the flex direction. So write flex row reverse. And now inside this div, we are going to have one more div with a class name of flex, justify between, item centers, max LG, W full. Then inside that, we are going to have one more div in a class with a class name of LG hidden. So above LG window size, this component will not be visible. And inside that, we are going to have our anchor tag with a class name of px2 py 6 pixels, border of 1 pixel, and then rounded MD, which is the border radius over text neutral 400. So, and then we are going to write sign up. Now let's save, and let me for a second remove this CSS and save it and go here. You can see our component here, but this will be visible only the small devices, so we are going to add this CSS again. And now below this div, we are going to have one more anchor tag, and it will point to the main GitHub website, so that HTTPS. And then we are going to have a SVG here. You can copy this SVG from my GitHub. And inside this SVG, make sure that you have this property which is fill current color. And then we are going to give this a class name of text white. And now if I save it and go here, you can see our GitHub icon here. And if I click on it, we get directed to the main GitHub page. Now after adding our icon, let's add our button. this will be a type of button, and inside this we are going to have three divs with some same class name. So I'm going to use the multi-cursor and add a class name, and they will have a width of 23. Height will be pixel. Transition will be is in duration of 150 milliseconds, and BG will be white. We also have to give some margin here so that MB1 and here is MB1, and now save it and go here. You can see that our hamburger money is visible right now. But to animate this hamburger, we have to use some states here. So go above and import use state hook, and inside the function we are going to define a use state which is show name set show name use state, and it will be a type of boolean. So I'm going to give initial value of false, and we also have to make this a client component. Now inside the button we are going to define onClick function, and inside that we are going to just flip the value of show name, and then we are going to let's make this like this. So inside the first div we are going to have a ternary operator. If show name is true, then we are going to rotate our div with 45-degree angles, and margin bottom will be 0, and then we are going to translate in the y direction by 1 pixel, and then if it's false, then we are going to rotate it back to the 0 angle, and also giving it a margin bottom 1. So remove this from here. Similarly, in the next field, if show name is true, then we are going to hide this div with margin bottom of 0. Otherwise, we are going to give a margin bottom of 1, and remove this from here as well. And in the last div, if show name is true, then we are going to rotate it in the negative 45-degree direction with margin bottom of 0. Otherwise rotate it to the 0-degree angle. Let's save it and go back here. Now if I click on it, you can see the animation. And you may already know that this will work only the small devices. So we are going to give a class name of LG hidden and cursor pointer. And now let's work on this navbar. For that we have to go below this div and write div. Inside that we are going to give a class name of flex, and make it this way first. Flex width will be full, max LG will be absolute, transition will be easy in, and duration will be of 200 milliseconds. Then we are going to give a top value of 20 and z index of 40. And after that we are going to use the same state here, which is show name. If show name is true, then I'm going to translate our neighbor in x direction to 0 if it's below LG. So write max LG translate x0. Again, if it's below LG, then I'm going to scale it to 100, and otherwise max LG max H0, max LG scale Y50, and max LG translate Y 1/4. So this CSS only works when the window size is below LG. So after that, we're going to write one more div, and we'll give a class name of. Inside that, we'll have our CSS, which is flex max LG flex call LG item center max SM. W will be 10/12 max SM MX auto, and then SM ML auto max LG. We will give a width of 320 pixels, and then LG we will have a width of full. After that, we are going to have max LG of max H of 500 pixels and overflow Y auto, and then we are going to write LG MB0 max LG BG white and max LG rounded LG. So let me explain all these cases again. So I can explain all these cases for you. So first, we are giving the flex property. Then if it's below LG, it will be in this case. So if it's below LG, then we are going to give a flex call. So all these menu bars, which is right now horizontal, they all be aligned in a vertical direction if it's below LG. If I click on the hamburger menu, you can see all the menus are in the vertical direction. So this is what this property do. And same, if it's above LG, which is this, then we are going to give a class name of item center. If it's below SM, which will be this, we are going to give a width of 10/12, and then we are going to give MX auto below SM and all other properties. Like if it's below LG, then we are going to give a width of 320 pixels, which is this. And if I go below SM, then the width becomes 10/12 of the window size. So this is how it's working. And if it's above LG, then we are going the full width, which is this. And then after that, if it's below LG, which will be this, we are giving a maximum height of 500 pixels, and we are also giving a overflow by auto margin bottom 0, and then BG of white. So if it's below LG, we are giving a background of white, but if it's above LG, then we are going a PG transparent. And after that, we are just giving a border radius. And now let's go in the next line, and here we are going to have a name tag, and inside that we are going to have class names. So first it will have a margin top of 0, horizontal padding of 3. If it's above LG, then we are going to have padding of 6, and then text of 15.5 pixels. And then we are going to have margin bottom of 0, max LG PY 10, and then max LG PX5. And after that, inside this, we are going to have another list, and it will have a class name. Inside that, we'll have a flex class name. If it's above LG, then we are going to have item center. If it's above LG, then we are going to have a space in X direction 2v2. If it's below LG, then we are going to have a flex call property. And then if it's below LG, then we are going to have a text neutral 700, max LG text Excel, and max LG font medium, and then max LG space in the y direction will be 6, and then we are going to have max LG H will be auto, and then overflow by auto. So these are the property for these menus. So we have a flex property. If it's above LG, then we are giving item center and space in the x direction to be 2, which is this. And if it's below, then we are going to give them a flex call property, which will align them in the vertical direction, which is this. And then we are giving them a color, text color, which is instead of 700. Then we are giving them a font medium, which is a font weight, which is 500. And then we are also giving them a text Excel, which is 20 pixel, and their height is auto, and overflow y is auto. And now inside that, we are going to give some allies, although we are going to change it later. But just to show you, I'm going to write ally product, and if I save it and go here, you can see all the menu here. Let me inspect it. So there was some error, which is this, that I did not add the W screen to my container. So after adding this, if I save this again and go here, inspect it. Now if I am below LG, then this shows up. And if I click on this, you can see that our navbar shows up like this, and this is what these CSS are for. And now we have to change this navbar also, because we want something like this, that when we hover over the menus, we can get something like this. So for that, I'm going to remove all this, and here inside the navbar, I'm going to make one more folder, which is nav utils. And inside that, we are going to have two components, which is navlist.tsx and write tsrfc, and another component will be navlist2.tsx, and again write tsrfc. So these two components are being used here. In the left part, this is navlist1 and this is navlist2. Similarly, here as well we have used the navlist. First, let's make them a client component, because we are going to use some hooks here, and then import use state. Now we are going to define some props here. First will be main, which will be which is the main line, which will be a type of string. Then we are going to write some main, which will be a type of string as well. Then we are going to write path. This will take the path of SVGs. So this will be a string as well. And lastly, we will also have path 2 because in some cases we have two paths in our SVG. That's why we are defining two paths here. And now let's pass these props here. Now use curly braces and inside that write main, submain, path, and path 2. And they all came from props. And then inside our function we are going to write a state here which will be focus, then set focus. It will be a type of boolean, so that use state boolean and it will take a default value of false. Now inside our return we are going to remove this and we will write a anchor tag, and inside the anchor tag we are going to have on mouse enter, we are going to make the state value to true, and on mouse leave we are going to make the state value false. And then we are going to add some CSS here, write class name, adding in vertical direction is 3, flex, item centers, space in next direction is 3, and cursor pointer. Now inside the anchor tag we are going to have our SVG. So for that, go to my GitHub and copy and paste these here. So first line is just the properties here. I have given the class name here, which will be margin right 3, transition of 100, transition of is in, duration 100, and on focus we are going to change the color. And then we are giving two paths for our SVGs. Below this SVG we are going to add a div of class name. If focused is true, then we are going to change the color to text blue 500. Otherwise it will be a text color of neutral 600, sorry 500, and it will have a transition of is in, duration will be of 100 milliseconds, and then text size will be of 14 pixels. And then inside this div we are going to have one more div which will have a class name of font semi bold, then transition. Let me copy this from here, and if focused, then we are going to change the color. Focus text blue. Let me this copy from here as well. Just change this to 800, and after that change the font size to text base, and then we are going to give a line height of bleeding 5, and inside this div we are going to pass our main, and then outside this we are going to have our submain. So with this our name list 1 is ready. Similarly we can work on our name list 2. For that we are going to make this our client, component as well, and then we are going to import our state, and then we are going to define some props here. It will take main value, which will be a type of string. Then it will take only one path, type string. After that, pass them here from like main, path, and props. And inside the function, we're going to have our state here. So copy this from here and paste here. And as for the JSX, you can copy that from my GitHub repo. So inside this, in the anchor tag, I have taken flex item center, and if it's focused, then we are going to change the color to 600. Same way for the SVG, I have taken margin left of 2 and then transition. And then if it's focused, I'm going to translate it to the X of 0. And then I'm also going to give a opacity of 100 if it's focused. So let's save it. And with that, our both components is ready. Now we are going to use both of them to make our menu bar. So inside the navbar, we are going to have a component which is product nav.tsx, and then let's import it here. Product nav. Now inside the product nav, first let's make this a client component. Then we are going to import some states, which is use state. And after that, we are going to import both the utils, which is nav list and nav list 2. And then we are going to define a state here, which is const show set show. This will be a type of boolean, and by default its value will be false. Now the second function will be const handle mouse enter, and inside this function, if the window size is above 1024 pixels, that means if it's above LG, then it's going to set the value of show to true. And similarly for mouse leave, it's going to make the value to false. And now let's write our JSX here. So we are going to write li. I'm going to write on mouse enter. We are going to call our handle mouse enter, and on mouse leave we are going to call our handle mouse leave. And then inside this li we are going to have a button. This will, and inside the button we are going to have our on click, which will set the value of show to, which will just reverse the value of show. Now after that we are going to define its type, which is a button type, and then we are going to have some class names here. So write flex item center p of 1 max lg font semi bold, and then transition is in Duration will be of 150 milliseconds. MaxLG justified between and MaxLG W full. Now if the value of show is true, then I'm going to make LG text neutral 300, and otherwise it will take the default values. Now inside the button I'm going to write product and then SVG, and now let's save it and go here. So when I hover over it, you can see the animation. And now below this button we are going to have a div of class name relative LG absolute, LG flex, ML1, L5, BG white, rounded empty, LG PY4, PY2, transition will be is in, and duration will be 150 milliseconds. If show is true, then we are going to give a opacity of 100, otherwise it will have a opacity of 0, and it will have a property of invisible MaxLG hidden. Now inside this div we are having one more div with a class name of LG PX4, LG border in the right direction of 1 pixel, and then I'm going to give a and then we are and then margin bottom of 4, LG margin bottom of 0, and LG PR, and then inside this div we are going to have another list, and it will have a class name of next LG PL6. Inside UL we are going to have our list here, so let's have our name list. Inside this name list we are going to pass some properties here. So first will be main. It will take only strings, so main, inside main it will be action, then submain it will be automate any workflow, and then path 2 will be empty, and then I'm going to give a path. You can copy this from my GitHub, and now if I save it and go here, let me hover over it, and you can see our first menu is appeared. Similarly, we can add all other menus. So I'm just going to copy that from my GitHub and paste it here. Let me specify it, and let's save it and go back here again, and if I hover over it, you can see that all our menus here. Now with that done, we are going to work on this second part, and for that, outside this div, make one more div with a class name of LG 8 LGPR20 and PY of 2 max LGPL6, and then inside this we are going to have a span which will have a class name of my of 1, text neutral of 800, then font semi-bold, and inside this span we are going to write explore. Now below span we are going to have one more another list with a class name of text sm, and now inside this we are going to have our list, and inside this list we are going to have a class name text neutral 500 over text blue 500 and py of 2. We are going to have our anchor tag. Inside that we are going to write all features. Now below this li we are going to have one more li with a class name of py2, and now we are going to use our name list2 here, and this will take two values which is main and path, and in the main we are going to write documentations, and in the path you can copy that from my GitHub and then save it, and let's go back here and check if it's working or not, and you can see that our documentation here. Let me give some more space here, py3. Similarly you can do the same for others, and let's save it, go back here, and if I hover you can see that our menu is here. Now let's check if it's working on the small devices as well. So for that resize it, and if I click on the product you can see that it opens our hidden menu. So with that our product new is ready, and now we have to work on solution, open source and pricing. So go here and make one more component which is solution nav.tsx tsrafc. I think spelling is wrong. So solution. And one more thing, that actually we don't need this function because the work for this function is doing this on click function. So actually we don't need the handle click function. So and after that we actually need this for this as well, and this as well, and then I'm going to copy this inside the li. We are going to have this and change the product name to solution, and let's save it. And one more thing, that here as well I have to change the spelling, and now let's import it to the Navbar. So that solution name, save it, and here you can refresh it, the name from product to solution, and with that our horizontal menu is ready. We have to work on the vertical menu. So for that, outside this button we are going to have a div, and inside that we are going to have a class name of relative, then lg absolute minus ml5 BG white rounded MD LG PY4 PY6 P6 W300 pixels and transition is in of, of duration of 300 milliseconds, and if the value of show is true, then I'm going to, then we are going to write LG text neutral 300, otherwise it will take the default value. And now inside this div, we're going to have one more div with the class name of LG border bottom 1 pixel and MB4, then PB4, PT4, W full. And inside this div, we are going to have a span. Inside that, we'll write for, and with the class name of text neutral 800 and font semi-bold, and text font size will be text base. Now below span we are going to have another list, and it will have a class name of text sm text neutral of 500 mt1 and width will be full. Inside this we are going to have our list, so and then an anchor tag with a class name of block py2 over text below 500 600, and then write enter price. Similarly, you can write for teams and startups, and below this startup we are going to have one more li with a class name of py2, and inside this li tag we are going to have our nav list 2, main will be education, and path you can copy this from GitHub, and then let's save it. After that we are going to have one more div outside this div with a class name of LG border P of 1 pixel, then MB of 4, PB of 4, PT of 4, W will be full. Inside that we are going to have a span, so copy this from here and paste here and change this to by solution. And then in the next line we are going to have another list with a class name of, you can copy this from here, and after that inside UL we are going to have li inside that anchor tag with a class name of block py2 over text blue 600, and then inside this we are going to write CI CD and automation. Now below this li we are going to have our name list 2 main and path. You also have to add a class name of py2 and then save it. And after this we are going to have one more div after div, and inside that we are going to have a class name which is mb4 pb0 pt2 and wfull. And now inside this we're going to have our span, so copy this from here and paste it and change this. In that case studies, and after this in next line we are going to have another list with a class name. You can copy this from here as well, paste it, and inside this we are going to have two LIs. Now if we save it and go here, for some reason it's already appeared. Let me check. So actually this should not be here. Instead we are going to write if show is true, then we are going to have opacity of 100, otherwise we are going to have opacity of 0 hidden. And now let's save it and go here, and if I hover over it you can see our menu. Now with that our solution menu is also ready, and now we have to work on the open source menu. So for that make one more file here, open source nav.tss, and write tsrafce and then import here and save. You can see that our third menu is here. Now here as well we are going to import some things from product name. So copy and paste here, and then this as well, and this as well, and change the name from product to open source. Now below this button we are going to have a div, and this div will have a class name. We'll copy this from here and copy this whole section and paste here. And after that we are going to add one more div inside this div with the class name of lg border b 1 pixel and margin bottom of 4, pb6 and pp4 and wfull. And inside that we are going to have a span, and you can just go here and copy this and paste here. Now here we have to add one more thing, that if forward then we are going to change the text color from neutral to blue 500, and also change this text here GitHub sponsors. Now duplicate this part one more time and change this. And now below this div, we are going to have one more div with the class name of MB4, PB0, PT2, Wfull, and inside this div, we are going to have our span here. So copy this span and paste here and remove this hover part and change the text. We're going to have our another list with a class name of text sm, text neutral 500, then empty1 wfull, and inside this we are going to have our li, in which we are going to have our anchor tag with a class name of block py2 over text blue 600. Actually this should be repository. Similarly we are going to duplicate it two more times and change the text here to trendings and then collections. Now save it and let's go back to our browser, and if I hover over it you can see that it's visible. I think we did not add the sub menu here, so for that go back here and after sponsor add a p tag. Inside that we are going to write, and it will have a class name of text sm font normal, font normal, and then we are going to have a text neutral 500. Let's copy this and paste here, and inside this we're going to change it to, now let's save it and go here, and if I hover let's see that our menu. And one more thing that is left to do is at the last menu and inside li we're going to have an anchor tag with these properties. Now let's save it and go back here and you can see our third menu. So with that our menu part is ready. That means backtick and resize it. If I click on this you can see our menu. You can open any of the menu here and this works just fine. And you can see that it does not go beyond this because we have set the max height of 500 pixels. So with that our menu part and hamburger menu is ready. Now we have to work on the right section in which we are going to make our search bar and some buttons. For that, after the nav we will have a div with the class name of lgflex item center maxlg flex call and lg px0 px3 mb3 lg mb0 text left and lg space x4. Inside this div we'll have one more div with the class name of lgflex mb2 lg mb0, then relative maxlg mr4. Inside the div we are going to have input which will be a type of text. Now we'll have a placeholder writing search GitHub And then we are going to have some classes here. This is going to our long class. So first we'll have a class which I have already defined in the global.css. Then we are going to have maxlg, bg, neutral 50, and then maxlg, w full, then w 240 pixels, and then lg px2. After that we are going to have h of 38 pixels, and then p of 3.5 pixels, and then we are going to have a white space no wrap and a placeholder text of 14 pixels. XLG placeholder text 16 pixels. After that we are going to have font medium placeholder PL2 focus Z will be 10, and then text will be 14 pixels. Then on focus I'm going to make outline none, and then on focus make BG white, on focus make text black, and on and border will be 1 pixel. Above LG we're going to have a border neutral 500, and then we are going to have max LG border neutral 300. We're going to have a border radius of rounded MD, and that's it. And now inside and now below input we are going to have, and now below input we are going to have our SVG. Now outside this div we are going to have one more div, and in this div we'll have a class name of max LG flex justify center max LG border of 1 pixel max LG MR4 rounded MD, and max LG BG neutral 800. And inside this tube we're going to have an anchor tag. We're going to have a class name of over text neutral 400 max LG py2 max LG text 16 pixels max LG font semi bold, and inside this we are going to write sign in. Now outside this div we are going to have one more anchor tag with a class name of max LG hidden, then px2 py 5 pixels, then border of 1 pixel rounded MD over text neutral 400, and inside anchor tag we are going to write sign up. Now save it and let's go back to our browser and refresh it. And I think there should be a style justify between. So after this, write LG just 5 and save it. And now it's looking good. So with that, our navbar is ready. Let me resize it, and if I click on the hamburger menu, you can see our navbar. It's working good. So with that, our navbar is ready, and now we will work on our home section, which is this part.